Council. First order of business is routine matters, approval of minutes from the last meeting. Those were attached to the agenda and emailed to you earlier. I entertain a motion that those minutes be approved.
Mr. Justin.
Motion by Jennifer, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Abby. Any questions or discussions about the minutes? Favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Jeremiah, juvenile grant.
Thank you. I'll try to keep this brief, but it's hard to do when Gracie does such good things in our community. Currently, Gracie, she runs our adult MRT class. She has 7 participants in there right now. One of them has graduated. She began this program September 10th. The program is now part of the requirements of wellness court. It must go through the MRT program. And it's also available to other adults on moderate and high risk probation. We plan to start a juvenile MRT program over the summer. Through Wide Stride, Gracie currently has 13 students. She serves students at South Decatur High School, North Decatur High School, Greensburg High School, and Greensburg Junior High School. Her Voices program, she currently has 3 involved. She also meets with students at the Learning Center in Greensburg, and that's the important thing about Gracie is she is mobile, so she can see them at school or in her office, but that also eliminates that barrier of transportation. Of those 16 kids, some of them are on probation supervision, but many of them are through a diversion program, so they are not formally criminal justice involved. We had our Operation Parent program in the county. We've had 2 sessions already. The first one was called a Caregivers with BCS. The second one was a 21st Century Technology with Jonathan here at our IT. Our last session, we had 21 people come, families come. So people are coming to it. I think the information was well received. We also received some referrals for juveniles during those sessions of parents who asked for help. So it was beneficial in that way. Our next one would be March 10th. That is alcohol, nicotine, and drugs with Indiana Treatment Center. If anyone's interested, they can contact us. We can get them on flyer. But that is located at the Learning Center. We've had 1 vape class at Greensburg High School. That vape class was put on with students who had got caught with nicotine vapes at school. By doing the class that we provide, it prevented them from being further expelled or suspended from school. Gracie has been involved with the Andy Casey Foundation and what that foundation is doing. It's in the country, organizations talking about bringing diversion programs to the county. So she's getting a lot of good ideas from that. Gracie's also trying to develop a reentry program for juveniles from DOC. We recently went up to Pendleton Juvenile Detention Center and talked to them about kind of building that relationship and how do we help these kids be successful before they get out. And I know that DOC is real interested on kind of shortening that term of stay. So how do we work together to get them home, to get them in programs? Gracie recently hosted the ACEs training program with probation. That training program helps to identify trauma with adults and juveniles. She's also recently involved with evidence-based practice and training community with IACAC. She's currently preparing for a LifeCraft program over the summer, which will take juveniles to different jobs to learn different skills. I say all these things just to kind of let everyone know that one, Gracie is busy, but also the amount of work that she's putting in that's going to benefit our department, our community, the schools, everything. Currently, we have $13,000 left in the ITJI diversion grant fund, which is what funds her currently. That $13,000 is left that we can apply for. So that's something that we would be applying for. Her grant ends October of this year. So we have to start thinking about kind of the future and how hopefully we keep her employed here and funded. And then if I could maybe just share a brief story, just to kind of show some success. Gracie recently had a juvenile 17-year-old who's referred to us from the schools for truancy issues. We were familiar with this juvenile, but she's not on probation. In that process, this juvenile was kind of kicked out of her house by her parent, who chose his wife, who had no contact order with him for domestic battery, chose her over the juvenile and told the juvenile she wasn't welcome in her home anymore. That juvenile then moved to Lawrenceburg with her adult boyfriend. Through Gracie's relationship with this juvenile, and immediately first she learned that the juvenile had been being abused by this adult boyfriend in Lawrenceburg. No parental supervision, no one to contact her or check in on her. She was not in the school building at this time, so the school couldn't follow up on her. Through Gracie's intervention, she got this juvenile into a safe home in Decatur County. She found her employment, she found her a working vehicle, she got her into services. And, then I would argue found success in this juvenile and kept her alive. And that's kind of what our goal is at juvenile probation, when we do that prevention, is so many of these kids are getting lost and not getting the services they need. And, this girl would have been lost if it wasn't for someone like Gracie's position being able to provide that. And this is one of many stories since we kind of started this, and we've helped kids gain employment, meaningful employment, not just, at McDonald's, but what is your career choice? How do we get you involved in that? We've helped kids get their driver's license. We've helped kids find food and pay bills. So I guess as a community, when we're talking about how do we continue to fund this, and do we want to fund this? What is the value in this, and what do we want to see the outcome?
Just about everything that he's just told you that Grace has done, we didn't have all that last year. Year prior to that, had none of it. So these are all things that he can't do. Jeremiah can do that, being the only juvenile probation officer. He's got a whole other set of kids he's dealing with, filing charges and doing reports. So the second person has been a blessing, and I think we were very lucky that it took us a while to get Grace to come aboard, but we were lucky to get her. She perfect with the job. So carry on.
Thank you.
Senate Bill 9 reports.
They haven't come out yet. They should come out probably next week, but when they do, I'll email them out to you guys.
So old business, hope you get grants. So this group has been vetting opioid applications for the funds that the county has been contributed. Been doing that for over a year now, and we have make updating process to the commissioners. We have one recommended them, and so far the commissioners have approved everything that we have brought to them. We have two that are considered old business grants filed, but we have not made a decision on, and that involves the ARC and Foundation Sports Recovery. These are two of our residential treatment centers in the county. Speranza was the very first of the wellness board. We know that wellness board had to apply, but wellness board was given funds right off the bat. Speranza would have been the second entity that applied for and received a pretty significant amount of money. The goal is to try to help all three of our residential treatment centers. We are still in the process of discussing the ARC and foundations. Abby and I did meet with these two over here with the ARC a couple weeks ago, and a lot of questions answered. Felt really good about that meeting, but we're just in the process of, and today we want to continue that discussion. I know Nathan has met with representative from Foundations for Recovery. Just kind of trying to nail down how can we help. So is anyone happy? You have anything you want to tell us?
I think from the meeting that Judge Matt and I had with the ARC, they rescinded their original grant that we'd been looking at the last couple of times and rewrote a different grant, I think more aimed at stabilization. So, and it had more detail and things like that in the new grant. So this is, the ARC submitted a different grant than we had previously looked at. And it's in your packets if you need to review it.
Are we going to consider that today, or are we?
Yes, I think for me, we've had questions answered, things like that. I think we just need to make a decision on what recommendation we want to bring to the commissioners as far as moving forward. In regards to both grants, but we can talk about whichever one you want first, Judge.
We'll talk about the ARC, they're first on the list. You folks want to let us know what it is you're asking for and
Sure. So after we met with the judge and Nat, we looked at the text we had written and felt we wanted to provide some further details. And also they explained to us the importance of recovery works and how we could gain additional grants for that if we want to pursue. So with this new grant that we're requesting, we are grown. And at this point in time, we have 3 residential properties. We have one loan. Well, we have 2 loans. It's all on the main residence. And what we would like to do is reduce that loan. Therefore, the request is for $80,000. However, we are also willing to put a portion of our savings into this reduction as well and refinance. That way we can reduce our overall spend and allocate it more towards operating expenses. Our new full-time director, which we have just brought on board full-time starting in April. So we're really looking at an overhaul, if you will, regarding our finances, and the debt reduction will greatly help us. So if we would happen to receive that grant, then when our CDs come due in May and June, we will also contribute $6,000. Then throughout the remainder of the year, another $6,000, and that's about 36% of our savings. So we wanted to make sure we show that good faith effort. In addition to, we are going to pursue recovery works. We'll be doing the training, which is coming up next week, so that we have other avenues as well.
any questions?
I sort of curious, you say you're gonna have a full-time director for the people.
Correct.
Is that one of your residents or something outside?
So Donald and Philip were currently our 2 directors, and Philip is stepping away from that position, and Donald's being a director.
Will he still have another job or will that be his?
This will be his primary job. Yeah.
I have a couple of questions. Number one is the ARC a 501c3? And number 2, what is the name on the deed to the real estate? Who actually owns the real estate?
So I think the actual deed still probably says Greensburg Transitional Living Center. However, with the state of Indiana, that name change has been made. So with a refi, that all would get changed and it would actually show the ARC of Decatur County. We did all the proper paperwork to transfer the name. We did that name change. Our tax ID, et cetera, all stayed the same. And we are in good standing with the state as well. So all of our filings, everything, our tax returns now reflect the ARC of Decatur County. So that would be something that would just needs to be cleaned up basically. And yes, to answer your question, we are a 501c.
Those are my questions.
Yes.
Okay, so what we have done with Speranza is we paid $129,000 of their mortgage. We have given the ARC for the vehicle $60,000, so if we wanted to be roughly equal, you had to lose $69,000. That way, both Speranza and the ARC have been treated equally. We can't be exactly equal, but want to know the numbers, that's what they would be. And that would still leave us money if we were going to do something for foundations. But we could come pretty close.
Yeah, and with knowing that, I am prepared to make a motion unless somebody else feels differently to give 60,000. That doesn't say that you couldn't come back and ask for more down the road. That's my feelings. If somebody feels differently to award the full amount, knowing what Judge Day had stated there, getting recovery rates going, things like that, makes me feel better personally. So, I don't know. somebody feels differently, they can tell me, but I would be prepared to make that motion.
We gave Speranza's out of restricted.
It's not but 17.
Yeah.
It should be restricted, I think.
Yep.
Not restricted. And by the way, bronzes, we did, contingently given $25,000 for vehicle replacement if they could receive a match. They did receive a match, so that's being backed down. So the 25,000 more probably all that we had available because of that. Okay, so Matt's made a motion. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Bill. Now, any questions of this discussion? Start $60,000 to pay down their mortgage. Any questions or discussions about that?
I would be okay with amending it up to the 69,000. I think it's actually said.
So Denver has amended the motion to 69,000, which again would make it equal with what Speranza received. Is there a second to that?
Yeah, I will, and if I may explain, I would be a yes to Matt's motion. I would be a yes to the amendment. I probably would be a yes all the way up to the full request, but for the interest of keeping the discussion going, I will second the amendment. So that we can have a discussion and vote on that, so that we can have a discussion and vote on the rest.
Okay, so now, see how we do this bidding process? And we are at $69,000. There's been a second, motion and a second. Any questions or discussions about that? I want to bid. $5,000.
Yeah.
Again, that puts us in spending the same so far like on weekend. And we anticipate there's going to be more money coming through this process. You never know when we're going to get or how much. But if there is no further discussion.
So I guess the $69,000 is to get you where you need to go, or what does that do?
Takes care of, we have two main property. Yeah. We were hoping to reduce it. And that's why we requested the 80,000, then with our 12,000. It would. And then it would leave our largest mortgage at 8%. And we would want to refi that. It's all enough for each. Right.
So I guess I just comment that I would agree with Nathan. I would go up to 80 myself. I'm not close to 69, but
If I could say one thing, to just keep in mind, I don't know, we do service. I mean, we're qualified to service 30 in the main building. We usually stay full. And then we have what we call our 3-quarter houses. We are allotting 3 people in those properties. So we're serving 36 people almost constantly. And again, not trying to point one, over the other with Speranza, but I do feel like out of all the centers in here, we do offer a lot for, with what we're working with. And in terms of services, and then just the upkeep in general of 3 properties now. They're all great approximation to our main campus as well. And then we also own it used to be the Trailer Park Speak Store. That's all part of our campus there as well.
Is it, I know you'd mentioned in our meeting, would you guys be open to, regardless if we did go up to the full amount, doing a partial upfront in good faith that you do start taking Recovery Works clients and then show, basically making sure that you guys follow through on what you said as far as taking Recovery Works clients and showing it and then receiving the remainder?
One thing that we would ask, we're more than willing to do that. Regarding Recovery Works. When we got the remainder would be the date and time when we would want to refinance, because we'd like to drive down as much of the debt as possible so that we can refinance just one.
Would you say that the balance is on
72,000 unrestricted. So we don't even have enough restricted to cover it.
What question are we going to consider? It really is estimate and the 80,000 as requested. If you amended that to so much plus.
Split, yeah, a contingency, basically, giving it in two portions, I guess.
We have did that with ITC, we have given them money, so just so everybody, just to refresh on that, they ask for some and they get monthly or quarterly,
Monthly.
and they get monthly, so.
Let's make sure we know what the contingency is going to be, that they are utilizing recovery works. And, I'm not 100% familiar with recovery works. You know, is that X number of people, or are there certain
It's-
people that would be?
Get one per person and there's. It's that they'll have to jump through to qualify, but if they can. Get that regular stream coming in, it should open up opportunities to apply for other DMHA.
So we are approved for recovery works. We've already got we just need to understand how to start
The width.
getting.
I mean, I would be willing to. Second judge. Bailey's. Issue. But with the caveat that they get like 40,000 now. And then second 40, once they can show that they. That the recovery works is actually copying it. If they're receiving the recovery checks. Or the value. Easy.
And I want to see that tied to a number of clients or want to get, we want to establish an up and running, is that acceptable? Do you want to see 2, 3, how many would you like to see?
For on that. It may be some, I don't want to handcuff it too much because if you're full. You know, it may be water for you. Right. Have this, open it up. It's obviously, I don't know if we can retroactively apply. If you can, because I don't, that's one of the things for us, right, when they changed it, it can't be in your house and apply, right? It's a bit.
We have 72,000.
Right.
But some of like 40 could come from 40 could come from. Because we have like 100 and
That means all the restricted, right? Unrestricted. And you use that for anything.
Yeah. They just have to qualify for the restriction. Yeah, I'd be okay with this showing that they have finally gotten. Everyone's come. It may take them a minute, but
I would say
get the work, because they're gonna have to get it.
a couple of months, we've got to get the training done. And it's my understanding that even after we get a client in, it may take a month to get recovery
Right.
works dollars in their bank.
Yeah, once they'll approve it. Accept, and then, yeah, it'll be 30 days for that first, and then once you've got that.
We did. Went to the commissioners with 80,000, 40 of which would be paid immediately, 40 of which would be contingent upon fully buying and receiving recovery works for. Does it have to be a new resident?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think what will happen is once you get one or two that claim that you know how to do it, it won't be as burdensome as you think it is. That's what I suspect will happen. So the contingency is what I'm trying to figure out how to put it in a motion. Contingency would be fully receiving recovery works for at least one individual within 90 days. Is that?
I don't hate that, but I also don't, if I could ask the question, we might not need to complicate it that much. When you were answering the question about if you receive less, that doesn't really help you because you can't.
Everything.
It's a good help. I mean, you can't get through the cash bill, you can't refinance the bill. walk me through the harm it would pose if we said it's gonna be a yes to the full amount. Next time, when you can bring it back, the recovery works, and we'll do it in one fell swoop instead of dependency. Is there a harm to you in the meantime to that waiting if you can't refinance until it's all there anyway?
I mean,
Assuming you're not gonna spend the dollars before then. Or will you earmark these dollars for us, or what if foundations or spawns that comes back? I mean, are we posing?
Well, if we push it, I think I can answer that. If we were pushing it to the next quarterly meeting and nobody else has applied, you would still be front burner.
Okay.
You would not be back burner. Because nobody else is, like, you'd be first on the agenda in the old business. You would be, that money would not have been spent because unless we spend it on foundations here in a couple seconds, that money is still gonna be sitting there. And they would have to ask for a lot more money than they've asked for in order to exhaust it, and to catch it up.
Okay,
But I think you would be safe on that.
okay, okay.
I don't want to speak for the whole group, but I think you'd be safe.
I mean, I don't feel like, well, it's harming it. I mean, we're here to paying our bills and looking at making our budget work. It's just, obviously this would help and allow us to do more.
Now you've made a motion.
I think I have made a motion. I would ask for one more tabling of this. With the understanding that this money is, we're not gonna spend it between now and next time. Bring us the documentation of the recovery works flow coming in. And at the June meeting, we'll do it in one fell swoop, assuming everything looks the same day as it does now.
Don't give me any back right now.
That would be my motion to amend all the other motions.
You have enough to clinch your
The CD,
loan due or your.
the CDs are up before then. That you'd have to pull from.
they come up.
I
If
don't,
that motion dies for lack of a second, I will not be attending. We can go back to the other motions that are out there.
So for Nathan's motion, and essentially just table the arts revised request until the meeting.
Second.
So there's a second. Any questions or discussions on that motion?
I don't like it. Personally, I think we just need to make a decision because technically they've asked for the same thing for the past 2 meetings and we've tabled them for 2 meetings now. Luckily they did revise it and came to the table with us. If you don't want to do the contingency, I would hope that your word is good enough. I'm fine with that. I hate saying, hey, we're going to give you the 80,000 in June. And then what if something blows up and we need to fund something else? I feel like we either need to get rid of the money. I don't want to promise it to you when if that makes sense,
And I know.
and not
we
fail to
held-
give it.
We held the inquiry and then we held IT until like they had to jump through some, but the money was earmarked for them.
It was approved by the commissioners. That's how it was held for them, if that makes sense.
That's, I guess, rather than tabling the meeting, I would prefer we make the recommendation and let the money be earmarked for them.
Yeah.
And if they can't meet standard, then the money comes back to us, just like Hickory.
So we would-
Hickory never took.
Right, so we would get the approval from the commissioners on the 80,000 on the plan that they show us proof that they're starting to take Recovery Works clients. And then as soon as that happens, we just hand them the
Yeah,
money.
Maybe it's not. Instead of doing 40.
That you've got to show. But we were able to earmark it because the commissioners had already approved it. That's how it was able to be set aside.
Sensing that my motion does not have sufficient votes to pass, I will withdraw my motion.
Okay. I think we are now, call this Jennifer's motion, which is to approve the 80,000. Go to the commissioners with that, which would still be contingent upon they are showing to get the whole 80 that they are actively qualified for and receiving Recovery Works. Is that
So we won't vote on this till June, or we Soon as the commissioners,
We can
soon
vote.
as the commissioners okay it. Yeah.
And so I would amend to give Judge Day permission and direction from the board that when the conditions are satisfied, just go tell the commissioners without coming back to the group.
We did that.
I would say we amend the motion that way, so we
Yeah.
don't have the meeting there. And once he's satisfied, since the commissioners are the final arbiter anyway, I would amend the motion that way.
I can't get to the commission still. They have 2 meetings a month.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, there will be 2 of them.
So,
I second that.
so we have a motion and a second.
That is the end of it.
Again, it is what we pulled 80,000. Contingent upon proof that the ARC is actively participating in receiving funds from Public Works. That sound all right? So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carried.
I'm abstaining.
She's abstaining for obvious reasons. But the motion carries, so we'll put that in the minutes, and I'll take that to the commissioners. Next item up is foundations for recovery. Or do you want to present some commentary about their?
Oh, I can do that. I had the opportunity to meet with Pastor Chris Uli regarding his proposal, the Foundation for Recovery proposal regarding their mortgage payment. I communicated with him things that were publicly said during this meeting in the past, since he wasn't here for that, about some of the questions that we had and some of the concerns that the group appeared to have in continuing to table the request. I confirmed from him that he had received the questions from Abby for follow-up, and he acknowledged he had not answered those at the time that he and I had talked. As I discussed with him, that this board has these twin interests in being of assistance to organizations that are doing good things while also being good stewards of public money. And that we just felt like we needed to hear and see more before there could be a vote in favor of his proposal. He seemed to understand and appreciate that. I encouraged him to respond to the questions from Abby so this group could know more. And I will say, during his and my meeting, he mentioned that he might like to retool his proposal and send a revised proposal. And after I met with him, I did talk to Abby and revisited that has been done in the past. There's a precedent for rescission and revision or sending it a revised proposal. But once I was reminded that precedent had already been set, I called him back and said, hey, that's the way it had been done that way, where people have withdrawn their proposals and submitted new ones. And I advised him not as a representative of the board, but just as a member, with my own perspective, that would be how I would see it best for him to see, while at the same time leaving him his own autonomy to make his own choices. So I think he sounded encouraged and excited about the idea of a revised plea. And I asked him to communicate with Abby if that's what he wanted to do. So that's my update.
I've received no communication.
Okay. And it's not that we don't want to treat everyone as equal as we can, that they're providing a very valuable service to the community. But there's questions. Okay. Questions for them would be the very same questions we had for the ARC, who owns the property, how are you set up? If you do participate with other works, we can do that. So I think we should do something in the meantime. There's nothing that prevents new grant application from being submitted. So my request or I would entertain a motion that Foundation's initial proposal be denied with the idea that it would have no impact on them presenting their end of their proposal in the future. I would hope that it would come in like the ARC did. And here, it's nice when you're giving that much money away. It's our money, but anybody's money. To have folks here that are willing to answer questions and engage in discussions with us, because again, it's an awful lot of good faith to give that much money out and never see a face to go with it. So I kind of like this, that they're here. So does anyone
I make that motion to deny the grant and they have free opportunity to reapply for it.
I'll second that.
motion by Matt, second by Dearmont. Any questions or discussions about that?
I feel like I have to,
Sure.
because I had the conversation with him yesterday and because he did seem to have the answers to the questions, that we've been posing. I personally am in a position where I would not be able to vote. I feel in my conscience I can't vote to deny, in the hopes that he will withdraw and revise. I certainly understand the group going a different direction, but I wanted to make clear on the record, my vote will be no, and if that's why.
When did you have that conversation?
That was yesterday, which cuts both ways. It means he hasn't had much time since yesterday, but it means he had a lot of time leading up to yesterday.
Yeah, he said since September.
In total transparency.
And he can reapply, as I said in my motion. It's not that it's a direct no for anything in the future. It's just, as Abby stated, it's been since September. Enough.
It's denial without prejudice.
Yes.
What we would call it in court.
And just so you guys know, I did make him aware he applied because I encouraged him to apply and I told him what the committee would expect. So like being given opportunities for help.
I certainly will understand the outcome.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, again, is to deny this initial grant request. Without prejudice, they can reapply. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Aye. Okay, motion carries. So we'll send them, send them just an email saying that we denied your initial application with the idea that everyone's expecting you to reapply.
Right.
And we will take a look at you. Okay. We have a new business. There has been a request from the Greensboro SAD Club for money from the opioid cases. It's supposed to be unrestricted funds. And how much were they asking for? Adding?
2,000 is what they were asking for. If we split the ARC and do 40 and 40, that leaves us an unrestricted balance of $74,748.
Plenty of money for that. Soon everyone knows what the SAD group does and how well they do it. I would entertain a motion that that request be approved and taken to the commissioners. I'll say this for Maida. One.
Yeah, I'll have the record somewhere.
Let's go Bill Maida second. On any questions or discussions about the SAD, but a small amount of money like this, it's not hard to say yes to.
And they don't receive funding any other way.
Right.
And I talked to Calvin about this. And I really think some of his goal is to revive kind of SAD, and this is a good opportunity, not asking for much, but I think it's gonna go wonders for them. So I'm kind of excited for their opportunity to receive this funds as well. I think he's gonna do a good job.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So we'll be taking to the commissioners, you have us in the ARC with that contingency, $1,000 to the. All right. Next item's annual survey.
You guys remember that? It was so much fun last year. So I'll take care of it. I think we all answered our questions last year for the most part. The only thing that I wanted your guys' support in adding, and you guys all heard in the community corrections meeting that DOC is cutting all grants, probation, community corrections, problem solving court, pretrial, and a bunch of ones that we also don't get, right? IOX, wow. No, I'm sorry. IACAC has requested that we put in our annual survey for JRAC what a hardship that could be in cutting community corrections funds, or possibly the possibility of losing your community corrections program. So with your guys' support, I would like to include that in the annual survey.
You vote on that, I don't know. That's pretty easy stuff. Be happy to do it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. You have the rest of the year's meetings down here, June 5, September 11, December 4. I would entertain a motion that we adjourn.
They get right.
Or second. Second. Second by Matt. All in favor, say aye.
Bye.
There you go. Got the rest of it.
Like the manager up each road. Everything, healthy, most, it's healthy.
Them.